Welcome back, and today we're talking about Moriarty the Patriot, episode 10. So like always, let's just jump into it. Episode 10 of Moriarty. I absolutely love this episode. I was kind of hoping we will go back to Moriarty and his side of the anime, where we get to see him, create all these different mastermind of crimes and kind of give it to people to kill the aristocrats. And instead, what we got was just so much better. I did not think for a moment that both of these characters would come in on screen at the same time and just kind of chit chat and kind of do like a cat and mouse game, where I feel like all of us as the viewers, we were kind of thinking that, what if Sherlock Holmes does actually know that Moriarty is, the mastermind behind everything? He just cannot prove it. And of course, Moriarty knows that Sherlock Holmes knows that he is the mastermind, but again, he also knows that he cannot prove it. It's like a masterful cat and mouse game, and I'm 100% ready for this ride. I cannot wait. Now, before we jump into what happened in this episode, let me remind you to like and subscribe. It definitely helps the channel out, and of course, I greatly appreciate it. But let's talk about Moriarty, because this episode, it starts off with Sherlock Holmes, and I was kind of surprised because we see Sherlock Holmes starts off by shooting that one guy that murdered Drebber, I believe. And, I thought, wait, what is all this going on, right? Is this like some time travel stuff? No, I was looking too much into it. Sherlock Holmes was just dreaming. And, this first half of the episode, we see just how like fixated Sherlock Holmes is with finding who the mastermind behind all these different murder cases is, right? He knows in the boat there was a mastermind behind that. He knows in this case where Drebber died, there was a mastermind behind that. So that's all he's thinking about, and he just keeps having that thought of murdering this Hope person, right? I believe that was his name, Hope. Murdering him just to find out who this person was. And honestly, I feel like this episode, if it wasn't for John, I feel like John is like the perfect counterbalance for Sherlock. Like if Sherlock was by himself, I'm pretty sure he would have killed Hope just to find out who he was. And I'm pretty sure Moriarty wouldn't have came out of the shadows to say, I'm the one that did all of this just because Sherlock Holmes killed Hope. I feel like Moriarty is trying to break Sherlock Holmes, and that's his little amusement that he's trying to get out of all of this. So the first half of the episode was really just focusing on that, and I love how even though Sherlock Holmes is kind of, he's drawing at straws, right? He's just picking random straws. He was still able to figure out the fact that, aristocrats are the ones that are being targeted. That's why he got with Lestrade, to try and see if there's any aristocrats that have died or have been murdered, or there's some sort of mystery behind their death. So that's essentially when he goes back to York. I believe he goes to York because there was an aristocrat that died there, Lord Redshire, and his death was really mysterious, right? He just left a note, went for a walk, and died. I don't know how that happens. Maybe he had a condition or something like that, but it does seem very random, right? And it so happens that Moriarty is in the same place, so I don't think it was coincidence that Lord Redshire died. I feel like Moriarty did have something to do with it, and we just don't know. Now, whenever Moriarty and Sherlock Holmes finally meet in this train was absolutely amazing. This was definitely the highlight of the episode. We see that Sherlock Holmes and John, they're having kind of like a little, they're kind of not getting along right now, because we see that Sherlock Holmes, he's angry, he's frustrated, and he's taking it out on John. I'm 100% on John's side, right? He doesn't want to be involved with Sherlock Holmes if Sherlock Holmes is willing to kill somebody just to find out who the mastermind is. That's definitely messed up. And again, I do think John is the perfect counterbalance for Sherlock Holmes' insanity, because that dude is definitely insane, right? He's definitely on a whole different level when it comes to this kind of stuff. But him meeting Moriarty in the train was just perfect. I love how Sherlock Holmes is kind of saying, somebody died in the boat. There was a mastermind behind that. Then there was the whole Drebber thing, and Hope saying that he will say who his benefactor is if Sherlock Holmes killed him. So it was kind of like, banter almost, right? Like you could almost say that Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty both know that they know about each other. So I feel like that was perfectly done, especially with Moriarty saying, you know, catch me if you can. And I love how his brother, Moriarty's brother, was willing to kill Sherlock Holmes right then and there because of just how powerful his mind works, right? He was able to kind of deduce all of this. And even though it was a bluff, I don't think it was a bluff. I think Sherlock Holmes, once he saw Moriarty on the train, he kind of just snapped in and knew exactly what everything that was going on. Like, he connected all the dots. He just does not have the evidence. So that whole scene was perfect. And I mean, the end of the episode, right? The end of the episode where there was a murder on the train. Again, I feel like Moriarty has done all of this. He planned all of this just to once again test Sherlock Holmes, you know, his genius ability to deduce and solve crimes and mysteries. So I feel like Moriarty is definitely behind this once again. So I like the little contests that Sherlock Holmes was kind of throwing around, right? Where he said, you know what, Moriarty, how about we see who can solve this case a little bit faster? Let's see who's best at figuring this stuff out. So again, I'm sure Sherlock Holmes is trying to do this to catch Moriarty slipping, and I don't think he is. I think Moriarty is going to be like the one that ends up winning, or at the very least, Sherlock Holmes is going to be able to confirm that Moriarty is the one behind everything, but he just won't have any proof. So essentially, Moriarty is going to get away with it. I mean, we're heading to the season finale of this anime. I've been loving this anime so much. Hopefully we do get more of it. I don't know if they're adapting all of the manga or all of the light novels in one season. I hope they're not. I hope there's more content out there because I definitely want to see more. Now, of course, we do have to talk about the end with John essentially being shot, stabbed, but he is hurt. We don't know exactly what happened, but he is hurt. Now, I don't think John is going to die anytime soon, but I do think that might throw a little wrench onto Sherlock Holmes, because we know Sherlock Holmes is not a bad person, right? We know he's a little cuckoo. We know he's a little crazy, you know, to the point where he's willing to kill somebody just to get his mystery solved. But I don't think he's completely gone. I do think he still has a little bit of human inside of him to care enough about John and why he's hurt and why he's wounded. So I'm sure he's going to give him, you know, CPR and, well, not CPR. He don't need CPR yet. But I'm sure he's going to help him with his wound, you know, patch him up and send him on his way before he starts figuring out the murder that happened on this train. Overall, great episode. I mean, I honestly was kind of disappointed at first because I thought it was going to be another Sherlock Holmes episode. And while I do love this version of Sherlock Holmes, I will probably say he's my favorite one from the different ones that I've seen. I think the way they did it in this episode was just way, way better than what I was expecting, right? Because when they combined both of these characters, it was gold. It was absolutely greatness. Cannot wait to see more of Moriarty and Sherlock Holmes solving this case and going at each other like cat and mouse. Overall, great episode. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this episode. And like always, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode.